Video games are still a fairly new art form. The medium has technically existed since 1947, with the first interactive electronic device patent filed for a cathode ray tube amusement device. But the video game industry we're familiar with today owes much to the success of early games like Atari's 1972 Pong, and Taito's 1978 Space Invaders, and the Nintendo Entertainment System, aka the NES, that revitalized the video game industry with its release in Japan in 1983. With this new generation of home consoles came many new faces, characters that quickly became fan favorites, becoming the faces of franchise that still pull in the big bucks in contemporary markets today. So we're taking a closer look at some of these more memorable characters with our list of top 10 most iconic video game heroes. In at number 10, Kratos. Kratos, the protagonist in the God of War series, first appeared in 2005 as the Spartan warrior who seeks revenge after Ares tricks him into accidentally killing his own family. After he succeeds in killing Ares, he becomes the God of War, and it's revealed that he is actually a demigod, the son of Zeus. Filled with vengeance, Kratos' actions in each of the God of War games is filled with extreme violence and morally ambiguous choices, and as time went on, his unforgiving personality along with his weapons and haunting white and red aesthetic make Kratos a video game icon. The next chapter of God of War will perhaps be the most interesting we've seen Kratos yet. Now a father, flanked by his young son, Kratos must master his rage and be a mentor to the boy on his next adventure, immersed in a new world of Norse mythology. And at number 9, Donkey Kong. Moving on from slaughtering your opponents to throwing barrels at them, Donkey Kong is the first of the gaming icons conceived by Nintendo on this list. First appearing in 1981, DK was the antagonist of a self-titled arcade game, in which Jumpman, who would later become a certain mustachioed plumber, had to climb up a series of platforms to rescue the woman Donkey Kong was holding hostage. DK was largely inspired by King Kong, and was one of Nintendo's first original characters, after a license to make a game based on the Popeye comic fell through. The company thought it would be more advantageous to create their own properties, and Miyamoto crafted a love triangle that mirrored that of Popeye, Bluto, and Olive, except a gorilla, a carpenter, and his girlfriend. And at number 8, Solid Snake. Solid Snake is arguably Konami's most memorable character. Created by Hideo Kojima for the Metal Gear franchise in 1987, he's a highly skilled special ops soldier and former Green Beret, who conducts espionage and stealth missions. His aesthetic has drastically changed over the years, and Snake has gone from first appearing in overhead action-adventure stealth games to the 3D Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, the game that follows Snake's last mission to assassinate his nemesis, Liquid Snake. That one in particular is widely considered to be one of the best games of the 7th generation of console gaming, and rubs shoulders with the greatest games of all time. In at number 7, Sonic. The blue blur. Sega's iconic hedgehog that a lot of our viewers on this channel are obsessed with. It makes sense though. Sonic was Sega's answer to Nintendo's Mario. He was created with the intention of putting Sega on top of the blossoming video game industry. Along with his nemesis Dr. Eggman, Sonic was the result of an internal competition at the Sega Technical Institute to find a new mascot to replace the current one, Alex Kidd. And his speedy gameplay won over many fans who wanted to indulge in the adrenaline rush Sonic games gave them. From 1991 to 1995, Sega crafted several iconic Sonic games that are still put up on a pedestal today, and keep the hedgehog in vogue, even if the company continues to pump out disappointing 3D ones. And at number 6, Samus Aran. Nintendo's Metroid franchise was one of the first massively successful sci-fi action-adventure games in 1986, when its first game was released, and its franchise has continued to rake in loads of money for the company ever since. That's partially due to Samus, a character who subverted players' ideas of video game protagonists when it was revealed at the end of the game that Samus was actually a woman, which has been named to be one of the greatest twists in video game history. Some critics have called her the first dominant female character that didn't rely on a man to save her, and opened the door for the kinds of female protagonists that have been appearing more regularly in video games today. And at number 5, Pac-Man. The only character on our list from the golden age of arcade video games, who hasn't really changed much since then, Pac-Man has gone from a yellow pixelated circle with a mouth to, well, a yellow circle with basic but recognizable facial features and limbs. But he's proof of how simplicity can be powerful. Pac-Man is a household name that even your grandparents would recognize, holding the record for the highest brand awareness of any video game character in the USA. He may not have the same kinds of popularity or sales that he had back in the day, but his legacy holds strong. First appearing in the 1980 arcade game of the same name, Pac-Man was actually Puck-Man in Japanese, but Namco thought that the English translation wouldn't hold up, and people would be inclined to switch the P for an F. And at number 4, Master Chief. Halo was a game that took the industry by storm. The 2001 military science fiction FPS launched a franchise, and with it Master Chief, the role that the player would assume, soon became an icon, especially for fans of the first-person shooter genre. While some critics have called Chief's silent and faceless nature a sign of a weak character, others feel that this actually makes Chief more accessible, allowing players to project themselves onto the character. Regardless, Master Chief has been noted as being one of the handful of video game characters who surpassed the brand of their video game. Master Chief has appeared on a plethora of products, and has even been called a new kind of celebrity for a new and profoundly weird millennium by Time Magazine's Lev Grossman. In at number 3, Lara Croft. If Samus opened the door for badass female protagonists in video games, Lara Croft solidified that. With over 20 years of Tomb Raider games, Lara's legacy goes beyond just exploring ancient tombs and ruins and kicking butts. She's a pop culture icon, the most recognizable female character in video games, has her own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and is the subject of multiple blockbuster feature films, where she was portrayed by Angelina Jolie. Yeah, not too shabby. More recently, we've been given further insight on the highly intelligent archaeologist adventurer, with a more complex characterization in the recent Square Enix Tomb Raider games, and a promising new feature film on the horizon too. Up next, number 2, Link. When The Legend of Zelda was released in 1986, gamers were introduced to Link, the penultimate fantasy hero. Over the years, we've gone on many diverse and fascinating adventures with him, met surreal and enchanting characters and creatures, and have been introduced to new civilizations spawned from our wildest dreams. We've been given different versions of Link from different timelines, and he's arguably the most iconic video game character to have endured multiple aesthetic makeovers, and still be a household name, although several traits have always remained the same. He's brave, he's humble, and he's determined to defeat whatever evil threatens Hyrule and his friends. And finally, in our number 1 spot, Mario. It's undeniable that Nintendo helped revolutionize the video game industry, but much of their success came from the creation of their own properties, characters that acted as mascots for their company that they had full creative control over, not just licensed ones. First appearing in the 1981 Donkey Kong arcade game, known only as Jumpman, Mario would go on to have his own title called Mario Bros. Named after the landlord of Nintendo of America's office warehouse, Mario's early days only involved running and jumping, but he still managed to gain enough popularity to get his own title on the NES in 1985. Since then, his reach has been wide and varying, with the likes of TV shows, anime, films, along with a ton of merch under his belt. He's been involved in over 200 games of various genres, and the Mario franchise is still the best-selling video game franchise of all time. Not too bad for a dude who started off being called Jumpman. Alright, there we have it, friends. Which one of these is your favorite? There are many other fantastic video game heroes out there that we couldn't touch on within the small confines of our 10-spot list, but let us know if you guys want us to do a part 2, and we can dive into some more awesome characters. If you dug this video, please spread the love by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. And hey, why not share it with a friend? We've also got some other great videos on our channel too, so feel free to check out our recently uploaded playlist. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'm Kelly Pally and this is Top 10 Gaming. Catch you all in the next one.